Have you ever looked at a really cool building and wondered, how did that even start? Like, how does it go from just an idea in someone's head to a real place? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're going to follow the entire creative journey of designing a modern kindergarten, from that very first spark of an idea all the way to the final functional space. So really, what does it take to design the kindergarten of the future? This sketch right here, it's just buzzing with energy and color, right? But it's so much more than a drawing. It's an exploration. It's the very first step in imagining a space that's built not just with walls and a roof, but with curiosity itself. All right, so here's our game plan for this design journey. We'll start with the spark of the idea, then move to the blueprint for play. After that, we'll see how they bring the vision to life, then step inside to craft a world within, and finally, we'll pull it all together to understand the modern learning space. You know, every great building, especially one made for kids, doesn't start with concrete and steel. Nope. It starts with a simple pencil and paper. This is the stage where the core feelings of the space, things like playfulness, safety, and inspiration, really start to take shape. So check this out. Here are those first two steps right next to each other. On the left, you've got a simple pencil sketch that's all about defining the building's bones, its structure and its overall shape. But then, look to the right. The architect starts bringing in color. And this isn't just for decoration. It's about exploring the building's personality. It's like they're asking, how does this bright orange make the space feel? How does the green help ground it? And things start to evolve fast. In this sketch, the design gets way more ambitious. It's blending these really playful, bubble-like shapes that almost seem to float out from the building, and it's contrasting them with these strong modern lines. You can already see a theme emerging, a building that's serious about its job, but totally joyful in how it looks. Okay, so you have all these beautiful, creative ideas. That's great. But how do you make them actually, work in the real world? This next stage is all about translation, turning those artistic sketches into a practical, logical floor plan that really works for the kids, for the teachers, and for all the staff. On the left, you've got this loose, hand-drawn layout. It's just about getting the basic relationships right. Where do the classrooms go? How does the outdoor space connect? Then, on the right, that idea gets refined into a super precise blueprint. The level of detail just explodes, and every single room is clearly defined. And this final plan is all about flow, especially for its little users. Let's actually trace it. You come in through the reception area, and you've got classrooms and a quiet sleeping room off to the right. A big gym forms the heart of the building, while the playground and these cool outdoor classrooms wrap all the way around the outside. Everything is connected, so movement is easy and safe. And just so those little boxes on the blueprint don't feel too abstract, here's what that outdoor classroom actually becomes. See, it's not just a label on a page. It's a real, tangible, nature-focused spot for learning, with kid-sized tables, a chalkboard, and even planters. This is literally how a plan becomes a place. All right, now for my favorite part, the real magic trick of architecture. This is where we get to see all those 2D drawings, the sketches, the plans, everything get transformed into these photorealistic 3D renderings that show us exactly what the final building is going to look like. I mean, just look at this incredible before and after moment. On the left is that colored sketch we saw earlier. On the right, that vision is totally realized. Notice how the exact colors, the shapes, and even those whimsical bubble windows are all perfectly translated into the final rendering, right down to the realistic light and shadows. It's amazing. And here's another perfect example of that sketch-to-reality pipeline. The super energetic drawing on the left, with its whole concept of stacks, colorful blocks, becomes the striking final building on the right. And look how key features, like that fantastic yellow slide that's literally built into the architecture, how cool is that? It makes it all the way to the end. That is design intent, perfectly executed. Okay, a building's exterior is what grabs your attention. But the inside, that's where the learning and the living really happens. So let's step inside now and see how that same design philosophy of playfulness and function carries through into every single room. So our little tour begins right here at the reception. It feels warm and welcoming, right? But look a little closer. The counter is low, which makes it way less intimidating for a little kid. And the soft pastel colors on the cabinets add this really playful touch. Every single detail is being considered from a child's perspective. And just like we saw with the outside of the building, the interior concepts also go from sketch to reality. That charming colored pencil idea for a nature-inspired classroom on the left becomes the bright, airy space you see on the right. The central tree idea is beautifully realized, and those huge windows just flood the room with natural light, connecting the inside with the world outside. Next up, the gymnasium, and this space is all about one thing: active play. But of course, with safety as the absolute top priority. You can see the soft seating, the wooden wall bars, and the totally open floor plan. It's all designed to encourage kids to move, but in a really secure environment. What I love about this design is how versatile it is. It really works for a child's entire day. Even this quiet sleeping room is so thoughtfully considered. While the atmosphere is obviously calm, notice that large glass door. It connects the children to the outdoors and to nature, even when it's time to rest. So all of these choices that we've been looking at, they're all guided by one single powerful idea. It's called child-centric design. And this approach doesn't just shrink down adult spaces. It fundamentally rethinks them. It's all about prioritizing the scale, the safety, and most importantly, the perspective of children to create environments that are genuinely empowering. Okay, so as we start to wrap up our journey from sketch to space, let's pull all these threads together. What are the key principles that take a building from being just a building and turn it into a truly modern learning space? But throughout this whole process, a few key ideas kept popping up. First, those playful forms and bold colors that really spark the imagination. Next, a deep integration with nature. We also saw functional spaces that were actually built to a child's scale. Then there was the use of tons of natural light. And finally, that seamless flow between being indoors and outdoors. Because, at the end of the day, the goal here is so much bigger than just building a school. It's about creating an entire environment where the architecture itself becomes a tool for education, a place that actively inspires curiosity, encourages creativity, and helps foster a real, lifelong love of learning. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. If a building, just through its shape, its color, and its flow, can genuinely inspire play and curiosity in a child, then what's the true limit of architecture's role in education?